Welcome to STARR, the startling tales about radical responsibility, and today's tale is about this new infamous map developed by Possibility Management called the Map of the Feeling Form. And the Map of the Feeling Form is about learning and practicing how to make use of your feeling, your conscious feeling for creation. So I want to say something about this because that research of learning how to feel has been in the work of Possibility Management for the last 3 decades. And it was already such a journey to build a community of people and also a clarity for the morphogenetic field of the world of what does it mean, what is a conscious feeling, and the difference between having an experience in your emotional body and already being able to be sensitive enough to notice, am I feeling anger, sadness, fear, or joy, is a revolution compared to anybody who's born and raised in modern culture where the numbness bar is so high that even that sensitivity is gone and actually not even trained. And some of the foundations of that have come from this conscious feeling work is also making the distinction between what is a feeling and what is an emotion. An emotion coming from the past, from an external authority figure, or from your gremlin as a doorway for healing. And the clarity that a feeling is for creating. But the question is, what does that actually look like? How do you move from having an experience in your body to creating consciously meaning from the present, meaning from a liquid state? And that's, I think, where the confusion has happened at some point, where people thought, oh, if I only say I feel mad, sad, glad, or scared because of this and this, then that's a conscious feeling. And mostly what shows up when you start liberating your emotional body is those are emotion. So they don't actually come from the present, and they're not meant to be negotiating or to be creating in the present. They're meant for healing or for transformation or initiation. So, but even if those were feelings saying, I feel angry because there's something that doesn't work for me, and ending there blocks the creation because you're still a victim of your own anger, of saying, well, I'm angry about this, and what? Like somebody else should change for me. So that's what people have noticed is this block in leaping over the noticing what you're feeling, but then what do I do with that? So the feelings form is the next experimentation that we're trying out to have access to the in the moment information of your being expressed through this conscious feeling. So I'm going to go through it and share with you what we've learned. The feelings form, how to use it, starts with actually a step 0, which is being able to be in your physical body, your physical body enough so that you can notice the sensation of what does anger feel like, what does fear feel like, what does sadness feel like, what does joy feel like. And that so that your mind doesn't interfere thinking, oh, this is an appropriate moment to feel joy, but actually your physical body and your bodies are informing you that you're feeling sad. So step 0 is being embodied so that you can have the experience of actually what's going on for you, which can be diverted. You can become inauthentic. We call that being in an inauthentic feeling if you have any kind of thoughtware of what I'm feeling is wrong. So if you could have an old decision from your childhood where if you were feeling something, like for example, you were feeling sad because one of your plants had died outside, like one of your favorite plants had died outside, and your mother would come and say, oh no, you don't have to be sad about this, everything's going to be okay, we have another plant for you. That could create this dissociation in you where what you actually experience has been dismissed so many times that you start distrusting distrusting your own experience. That's part of the healing, of getting back closeness to yourself. When you've done step 0 and you can actually be in your body and have this experience, step 1 is to say, I feel mad, sad, glad, or scared. And to match what you're feeling in your physical body, coming from your emotional body, but your experience, your sensation, to match it with what you're saying. Which sometimes you might be feeling more than one feeling at a time. And it's to notice that, to notice, okay, I'm feeling more than one feeling, but for the feelings form to be powerful, the invitation is choose one, and therefore choose the biggest, or choose one. When you've expressed, so you've come into contact with, like what you're expressing is actually what you're sensing, being in reality. The step 2 is because. So I feel mad, sad, glad, and scared because. And in this step 2, you are already in a liquid state. So that means you don't know yet what your sadness, your fear, your anger, your joy, your feelings have for you. If you already know, that means your mind has taken over and you're grasping onto an information that you know, for example, from the past, or maybe that you've seen other people say that your mind, your box has considered appropriate to say in combination with this feeling. So you don't know yet what you're going to say. And that's the part, or the conscious feeling, that is the edge of our research. And I think that really the edge of edge workers entering a culture of feeling for conscious creation is you entering the unknown. You entering what you are going to say will not only change the world and your communication, it will change you. And so part of this conscious feeling is being willing to enter a liquid state, to enter a discovery of yourself that might completely change the life that you have, or your self-identity. You cannot know the consequences, and that's what it's like to be present and to be alive. So the step 2, the because, the experience is you having a feeling about how the world is. So your being has an experience of how reality is, what is, and your feeling is an expression of your being in the world, from the world, of how it is. And so it's expressing also your value. It's expressing your own unique sensitivity. And that's why when we enter a practice of conscious feeling, it makes sense that people feel different thing about the same reality, about the same what is happening now, because each being has a particular sensitivity and information to bring. So you're revealing the expression of your being. How are you in the world right now? Then you move into step 3, because I've already talked about the ways to be inauthentic, which is to I'll say it again. One of the ways to be inauthentic in step 2 is letting your box be expressed through your feeling. So, for example, something that happened recently for some friend is they were in an environment, loud city environment, not very much plants, and what they were feeling were anger. It's like, I'm angry that there's no plant, that there's no life, that people are numb, that people are on their phone. And they realize, oh, this is the expression of my box, of my superiority and dominance, of this is bad. And actually their being, what they were feeling, their being was feeling sad. And the sadness was actually letting them being closer to themselves and closer to noticing there is a plant that's thriving here. There is this person that actually I want to connect to, and that they're open for connection. So all this information from their sadness was actually an expression of their being. The anger was an expression of their box. So that's the inauthenticity and what to pay attention to in step 2. Step 3 of the feeling form, and when I say steps, this is not a formula, this is not a method of if you do 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, then you're going to get to create something. We divided those steps because we noticed that people tend to step over some steps. So for example, people tend to step from step 1, I feel, to immediately I want, which is step 3. And what we notice is actually when you feel organically, naturally your being will go through these stages. Experience of a sensation, expressing the feeling, which feeling it is, expressing the because, the why, because this is how the world is and I have a certain experience of the world, but this is what I want. And so that step 3 is an expression of your being of what is possible. Step 2 was an expression of your being in regards to what is. Step 3 is an expression of your being in regards to what is possible. It's about potential. This is about possibilities. It's about what you are here to create. So it doesn't have to be archetypal. Sometimes it's very simple of, I'm afraid that the pot, is on, and I'm afraid that something will burn, and what I want is to turn it off. So it can be very simple creations. However, the ones that are more scary are about these information from usually other resources. So your feelings archetype, your archetypal lineage, your bright principles, but also other forces, Gaia, speaking through your feelings, your being this channel for the expression of these forces that do not have, mouth and hands to do the work in the world at the level of, the material level of human being. So step 3 is you revealing again a part of your being of, this is what I want. In this part of what you want is unique. And there's a part that is refreshing. Like, even in a way, if you've said that before in other groups, the way that your being expresses your want and the potential in this particular situation is unique to who you are, how you've evolved, and how the field, like who you are communicating with, is there. So it can never be expressed the same way. The ways to be inauthentic at the level of step 3, or the level of saying what you want, is, for example, very typical for women especially, is trying to find a solution to your feeling, as if your feeling is the problem, instead of actually letting your being unfold into creating what you want. Or already having mechanism in your box of, this is not possible, so I can't say this is what I want. So you're only looking at what is possible through the minuscule lens of what already exists, or what you think is possible, limiting the unreasonability of your being. Another way to be inauthentic in step 3 is to say what you don't want instead of saying what you want, which is a lot more risky. It's a lot more vulnerable. You make yourself a lot more visible instead of saying no to being yes. And that's this part of when you are experiencing a conscious feeling, and you let the awareness of your being and of your presence in the world become conscious, you reflexively become responsible for the information that you're getting. Responsible not as in, oh, now I have to do something, but the movement, the organic, natural movement of your being will want to move towards creation. And so again, if you have thoughtware about responsibility, like I'm going to be punished, or it's stupid, or it's a duty, or I have to, it's going to be a weight, that step 3 of potential and possibility will be blocked to not carry that, to not have that burden of like the way we see responsibility and possibility management at a level of radical responsibility is consciousness in action. So responsibility is applied consciousness. So the moment you start feeling conscious feeling, you are increasing your responsibility in the world, the responsibility for the information of your feelings. And if you think about, so if you get, like, you have this feeling, and just to be clear, this the thread of the feeling is one feeling. So one of the ways to also lose authenticity in this, in learning, practicing feeling consciously, is mixing feelings. So you start by saying, I feel scared because, and then before going all the way to the feeling form to create, you shift into, and I feel sad. So these kind of mechanism of cutting your own feeling off from creation, this is what we called the emotional loop of your box. And that's something really useful to know. I'll make another STARR about the difference between your emotional loop of the box and the feeling of your being. When you notice how you're doing in reality about, like, this is how I am with what is, and this is what I want, those two things are different. And the fact that they're different, they create a tension inside of you where what you want doesn't exist yet. And this tension tends to want to be resolved. So one of the ways to be inauthentic in step 4, which is the step of creation, is trying to get rid of the tension, which is trying to get rid of the feeling. So then your action, so I will take action, that's step 4, is so I will do something to numb myself. So that's one of the ways to be inauthentic. But in this tension of creation, if you can strengthen your ability and your nervous system to hold basically a paradox inside of yourself, you're building matrix. You're building really quality matrix to be in the present, which is in groundlessness, which is in transformation. This tension is asking for transformation, is asking for actions of evolution. It's asking for creation. And this is what we're designed for. We're designed to be initiated in having that leverage, that power on the world, so that when the world is happening to us, we are also happening to the world. And that's the creation step. And this step 4, this creation step, there's no method, there's no list of action that you can take. There's examples such as you can make a proposal, you can ask a question, you can negotiate intimacy, you can also take a stand, you can make a commitment, you can start moving your body, start noticing with also your different bodies that the amount of action and the nuance of creation that you have access to, that is unique to your own being. But one of the ways to practice this step 4 and to practice also the muscle of this resilience in your nervous system to be in the unknown of creation is to really work with the new thought map of feelings. And grab one on the website of pmthoughtmaps.mystrikingly.com or forfeelings.mystrikingly.com and study the map of what can I do with my anger? What can I do with my sadness, with my fear, with my joy? And one of the ways to practice is you choose a feeling and you choose what you've been wanting to have more in your life, to create more in your life. Such as sadness, you might say, I want to learn how to grieve. I want to learn more how to let go, let myself be soft, or fear, or fear is about creation or noticing, but joy can also be, I want to learn how to celebrate and how to inspire people and create teams through joy. So you choose one of the feelings and you choose one of the skill or one of the action that you can use with that particular feeling, and you practice consciously raising, for example, your joy and noticing in the moment, I feel joy because Notice your mind, who will want to grab onto all sorts of things that make sense. And stay close to your being, because I want, you keep riding that wave of the joy, because I want, probably celebration, and what I want, and what my joy is informing me of how I want to celebrate, which there's so many ways, and not really in the ways that have been shown to us through television of like rah, 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 loud. So much of the celebration can be subtle, but also shared. That the feelings form is also about being closer to yourself so you can be closer to others. One element I want to share with especially step 4 and the creation part is let me see. The use of the conscious feelings form, what people have noticed is that they've noticed a few things, but one quality that you're using your feelings consciously is that there's this ecstasy. We call it the ecstasy of integrity, that you are in integrity with yourself, and there's this relaxation because you're letting your feelings flow through you instead of, for example, into your box or letting them stagnate into your bodies. You're using them to notice and then create. You're surfing this wave. And what other people have noticed is also getting so much closer to themselves, to really get to know themselves. And so that's also a certain quality of aliveness and connection with oneself. So a brief introduction to the conscious feelings form. As you would have noticed, this takes practice. I do not know yet of a practice base except the heart gym, which could be dedicated to practicing the feelings form. But if you want to start a possibility team or a study group, a practice space for how to practice the conscious feelings form, please do it. Please share it with us. I think a lot of people would want to practice this muscle to be in aliveness now that they've liberated their emotional body.